It's a really good interview. I remain fascinated by the music that they chose to put behind it, but it was a very good interview. There's Bart Scott and Jeff Darlington this morning. So Jeff, you've been around Brady as much as anybody, and there he is talking about still having something to prove, at least to himself, coming back at 44. Is there any reason to think that this isn't indefinite in his mind?
Absolutely. This is not. I remember having a conversation last year with some people close to him talking about how Tom at that point, mid-season last year, was already talking about how not only can I play next year, I can absolutely play the year after that. And when he talks about that, when he talks about the 2022 season, it's not like he's saying, yeah, I'll go this year and then that will be my last one. It is fascinating in many regards that he is willing to go that far. The question in my mind actually is not even about whether he can physically do it, which he continues to prove everybody wrong on whether he eventually will go up against time. The question in my mind is just personally, like his life state. Like, this is a guy who now hangs out with billionaires and looks at property books to see where he should invest next. This is not a guy just hanging out with his teammates anymore. At some point, will he lose the interest in the football side of it? So far, he has not.
So, Bart, if the body doesn't betray you and the game is set up so at this point for quarterbacks to be protected and the rest of that, what is it that ends it? What is it that makes Tom decide it's finished?
Well, I think Giselle ultimately tells him it's time to come home and get in the kid pickup line and start helping out at the house. But it's one of those things. It's funny how we've transitioned from Tom versus time to pretty much Tom versus himself. Because I think he's trying to, remove all doubt, Greeny, that he's not just the best football player of all time, but arguably one of the best athletes. So he wants to be put in the same regard as Wayne Gretzky, Muhammad Ali, Babe Ruth. He wants to be on a Mount Rushmore, I believe, of great athletes of all time. And it's funny how we laughed at the point maybe 5 years ago when he said he wanted to play to the age of 45. And now we look up and he's 1 year from that. Come August 3rd, he's going to be 44 years old, and he's going to prove himself right. Great players are always willing to go the extra length to prove themselves right when they put, actions to words.
Absolutely. And look, as far as that Mount Rushmore in the history of American athletes, if he's not already on it, he's got to be awfully close. And Jeff, let's button it with just this interesting thought you had as far as where he has his life set up. What were you telling us about his schedule when his team has home games?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. First, hey, a 1 o'clock game in Tampa means I'm in the pool in my backyard by 4:30 p.m. Like, he loves the lifestyle that he ultimately chose and found in Tampa, and that was part of it. Like, yes, he was pursuing more Super Bowls when he left New England. Yes, he loved the idea of adding to his legacy, but he also felt like he wanted a new challenge, a fun challenge in a new fun place, and he feels like he found that. He is living his best life while also still succeeding on the field. So, look, he's got a beautiful boat, a beautiful pool. He's enjoying life at this point while also piling up Lombardis. It's fascinating, and quite honestly, I don't personally want to see it end anytime soon.
He has generally set himself up. Go ahead, Bart. Final thought.
No, in that regard, you and Tom have a lot in common, Greeny. Now that you've come down to New York, and after you get off the show, after your lovely radio show, you get to cruise down in Seaport and people watch.
Listen, I'm busy listening to Bart and Hahn on ESPN Radio. I know what you're talking about. I'm listening to you and stealing all your takes for the following day. In the meantime, I want to get to a take you had earlier today, and that was gets up early with us this morning. He's ready to go. Bart Scott, can't wait to hear from him. We've lost power at Damian Woody's house. We hope to have him soon. But there was plenty of power last night in Southern California. That's where it begins with the game of the night. Clippers, Suns, Game 3, Western Conference Finals. Chris Paul back. Would be better than ever. Missed the first 2 games of the series. But he and Devin Booker would both struggle from the field earlier. CP3 and Booker 0 for 9 in the first, 10 for 40 for the game. So they couldn't get it going. Paul George could. Watch him here. Working on Jay Crowder. Watch him here. With the dish. Oh, and it's Zubats. Throwing it down. He had 15. George and Paul exchanging some words. Clippers by 8. 1 second left in the third. Paul George for 3. Oh, and he puts it in. Paul George, 27 points, 15 rebounds. Clippers outscore the Suns by 13 in the third. Suns trying to make it a game in the fourth, down by 8. It's Booker. Again, quiet night, Hedges 15, but that one makes it a 6-point game. Just over 6 to go. Clippers up by 8. Reggie Jackson That's a 3-run homer. 23 for Reggie on the night. Clippers back up by 11. He was feeling it. Under 2.5 to go. Clippers by 13. Let's put it away. Patrick Beverley from the corner. Steve Ballmer knows it. Kawhi Leonard knows it. The Clippers have life. 106-92. It's a 2-1 series now in favor of Phoenix. Clippers have started slowly in each of their playoff series. Again, this is the third straight time they've been down love 2, but Patrick Beverley said that they call Ty Lue Bill Belichick because of all the adjustments that he makes. And from games 3 onward, LA is now 9-1, winning those games by an average of 12 points. So that brings up the question for these two, Tim Legler and PJ Carlesimo. Coach, I'll start with you. The Clippers have done it twice before. Are they about to do it to Phoenix? Who's in charge in this series right now?
I think Phoenix is still in charge, but I like what the Clippers are doing, and Legs knows it from playing. The team that has that desperation factor, it's very hard to, match that. They knew they had to win last night or the series was over. I think it's going to be a very good series, but I still like Phoenix because the desperation factor pretty much out the window now.
Yeah, they have not yet made any final determination, Legs, on Kawhi Leonard, but I don't think there is any expectation that he is coming back to play. Can they crawl all the way out of this hole without him?
I don't think they will, but look, this is a very good team, and right now they have figured out something defensively on Devin Booker with the pressure they're putting on him. I mean, he looked frustrated last night at times. Now, he missed some good looks, and he's an elite-level scorer. You're not going to keep him bottled up the whole time, but the relentless pressure that they have put on him over the last 2 games has dramatically affected their offense because he just cannot find a rhythm. And they have built their offense to a large extent around his rhythm. And right now they're trying to figure out how to operate without that. And Chris Paul, wasn't very good last night offensively either. He missed some time, came back. I expected him to be a little bit rusty. He also looked a little bit slow to me. I didn't like the pace they were playing at. I thought it played into the hands of a very physical Clippers defense against both of those guys. So I think it's a very complete team. The Suns, it wasn't a mirage what we watched all year. This is a very, very good team. And I do think ultimately they will win this series, but there's no question now the Clippers have life, and Game 4, to me, is going to determine whether they actually can make this a real series and go 7 games.
All right, so we'll wait and see what they're able to do with that one there. In the meantime, as that is 2-1 Phoenix in the West, and the East will continue tonight. There's another story percolating around the NBA that I wanted to get you guys' perspective on, and that is there's nothing better than when superstars are beefing with each other, and right now they're doing it very publicly. So let me set the story for you here if I can. Scottie Pippen making news in the release of a wide-ranging interview with GQ. In it, he talked about, among other things, the difference between LeBron James and Kevin Durant. He said KD can score better than LeBron, probably always been able to, but has he surpassed LeBron? No. He tried to beat the Milwaukee Bucks instead of utilizing his team. LeBron would have figured out how to beat them and he wouldn't have been exhausted. He may not have taken the last shot. But LeBron ain't KD and KD ain't LeBron. KD is a shooter, a scorer, but he doesn't have what LeBron has. So Scottie Pippen said that. Kevin Durant is generally not one who just ignores things like that. So he responded not once but twice on Twitter. First, he tweeted, "Didn't the great Scottie Pippen refuse to go in the game for the last second shot because he was in his feelings as coach drew up the play for a better shooter?" And then he tweeted, "This guy Scott also wanted to enjoy his summer, so he chose to rehab during the season, LOL. Yo, Scottie Pippen, they followed Phil, not you." So I suppose there's a couple of different ways to look at this. One is we're in the interesting business. This is interesting stuff, so it's okay. The other is it's beneath two people of this stature to be having this kind of discourse on social media. On which side of that do you fall, Tim Legler?
Well, no, look, I'm okay with it. I don't mind guys that are all-time greats historically getting after a little bit on social media. Look, social media is the platform now to air these kinds of things out. I think the thing that kind of surprised me about this, I don't know if somebody told Kevin Durant about that episode with Scottie Pippen when he basically refused to go in the game while they drew up a play for Tony Kukoc, because he was probably, about 10 years old when that happened? I don't know. Is he that much of an NBA historian that Kevin Durant had that kind of recall at the top of his head? Or did somebody have to tell Kevin Durant about that episode? Either way, I don't really have a problem with both of these guys sort of lifting their leg, right? That's what they're doing. Dogs marking their territory. That's really what this is about. And I think overall, Scottie Pippen was just trying to make the point. Look, Kevin Durant is elite level player, and after what he did in that last series, it kind of reminded everybody how great he is. but he's still saying, listen, but he's still not LeBron James.